Okay, so we are actually going to do a little pivot right now. I'm just going to, there we go. And I wanted to just say thank you to everyone who supported this. And this vision of the Authorthon is simply authors do not always know how to market and create campaigns. So this is a tribe we're creating. This is an opportunity for everyone to support the other authors. But most importantly, if you're viewing and you're not an author, you could be. So it took my mom, unfortunately, passing of Alzheimer's for me to wake up and say, wow, life is precious. And I wrote this book 60 books ago. So this book has a little thing that says almost 100 sold. So it was just an attempt at humor, but it was about how you give value to somebody when you meet them for the first time. So I'm going to share a book that I would like to give to everybody. And it is a book about my first 60 years. And I have to say that I can't take credit for doing this because my son was the one who came up with the idea of doing my first 10 years. He did it before I did. And he mentioned that he had done something like 6 books in his first 8 years, and then he was going to write 4 more books. Well, he ended up writing 6 more books, and he encouraged and inspired me to do 60. So I'm going to just share a couple pages in this book because I think it's important that you see how easy the flow of a book can be. First of all, just having a nice little quote at the beginning of a book is a nice way to say this is kind of the theme and my philosophy for this particular book. Having a preface where you have an intimate conversation with the reader. And then in this particular case, I had a larger dedication. Usually it's just a couple people, but these people have really helped and supported me over my journey of 60 years. And this interesting, I guess, philosophy of Adrian Tan is that being hated is actually having convictions and not necessarily settling at the average. So this is a really strong piece on when you're doing something that's causing you to be hated. Sometimes you're causing people to actually, you're actually doing something in the world that makes a difference. And with that said, I had this quote here that says the only 2 things you really need to do in life is 1, prove the people who believe in you they were right, and 2, prove the people who didn't believe in you they're wrong. So my acknowledgement section, everyone that's on the team is acknowledged. I strongly encourage you to make a healthy acknowledgement section, just showing the people that you really appreciate them, that you're grateful for them, and that you love them. This quote here on the bottom line is something my son has actually memorized. That when I taught physics and chemistry, I deterred kids from making excuses by having them write this down when they had an excuse. And pretty soon, presto, they didn't have any more excuses. It means a lot that the foreword was written by Barry Shore because he's the gentleman who handed me the first Keep Smiling card. And we have them in all kinds of languages, which you're going to see soon enough because I'm going to show you not only the picture of Keep Smiling, but he has it in Hebrew here, and I think it's in Yiddish. And these are 2 of the books we published for him. I think a lot of the people that have talked today have talked about choices. And I think this is a cool way of looking at life. It's a defined journey if you choose it. And I have a shirt that actually reflects my birthplace, Earth, my race, human, my politics, freedom, and my religion, love. And I was born in Warwick, Rhode Island. And this is the evolution of Dr. Smiley. So I got to share my story as kind of an introduction, which I think is a great way to start a book, and also telling some of my dissertation, which was what is your SPH, and your SPH are your smiles per hour. So these are just all kinds of things I've learned over my 60 years. One of the things I think that I wish I had learned when I was 18 is just the difference between scarcity and abundance. If you make less than you're spending, you are probably going to have a life of anxiety on some level. And if you make more than you're spending, you're probably going to have more peace and tranquility. This is such an important facet of the personal development that I've worked on over the course of my life, and that is just having a abundant mindset and a growth mindset has really made a difference for me. And let me see what else we have here. Just turn this down a little bit. There we go. And okay, I'm going to just sorry about that. So we have the book I was showing. I had the other window go in front of it. So these are just some of the ways of looking at how you could tell your story and how easy it can be. This is my first book, as I said, and these are just some of the epiphanies I've had. And this is a reflective of a book we're going to create later, just showing all the different authors we've had in these the authorathon. These are 4 books that I think have made the biggest difference in my life. I have 3 libraries. Jeffrey Gitomer earlier talked about how valuable books are. There is a quote that I love to say when I'm on stage, which is the difference between where you are today and where you'll be 5 years from now are the books you read and the people you meet. And Charlie Tremendous Jones was the one who shared that. I found that actually in a Bob Berg book and a Jeffrey Gitomer book. Some people don't know I DJ'd for a good portion of my life. I did about 3 or 4 decades of DJing before I took care of my mom with Alzheimer's. And these are some of my favorite songs I decided to put in my 60th book. This is a bit of the way we're doing the strategy for all the authors here is everyone is actually in a review club right now, and we're reviewing each other and sharing our heart, sharing our book, and supporting each other. We are intending on September 13th to do a baldathon. So for all the authors that are speaking today, if you choose to shave your head, I know Kenny's very interested in shaving his head so he can be part of the baldathon. That is our, and actually we're thinking about calling it the baldathon. That's September 13th, and it's actually a holiday for being bald and free. These are some of my photography books. I found that my photography, whether it was on Facebook or social media or wherever I had it, would kind of be forgotten. So I decided to memorialize it and legicize it by creating these photography books. Kenny and I did a book called Be the Smartest Kid in the Room, and I think it's really proven that he has really has a mindset for doing whatever it takes to have confidence about learning. These are a couple of the birthday books I've done. This was a very interesting book I did with a wonderful woman, Gail Hamilton, and she is blind. And we were making a point that if we made a blind a blind coffee table book where every page was black, it would make a statement of what it is to not have sight. And so the 3 points we were making in this coffee table book were, one, that the blind are not necessarily taken care of with regard to traffic and street signals. Number 2, they are highly unemployed. Over 65, 70% of blind are equipped to do any job you'd want them to do, and they're not necessarily utilized. And the third is that many websites are not blind friendly, so they have disadvantages of really being able to enjoy the experience of being on a website. This book right here is a book that most people would not believe I've spent the kind of money I've spent on it, but I have spent well over $1 million. I don't know if it's $1.5 million, but to be at all the different events I've been at, if you calculate the flights, the hotels, and all the different experiences I've had to pay for, from food to Ubers, Lyfts, anything else you can think of, it is a very expensive venture to go out and meet all these people, but I believe it's very important to celebrate people that are bringing smiles to the world, which is one of the reasons this authorathon exists. I taught Kenny and have been teaching Kenny how every day is precious. And so we did a book called Celebrating the Day, where every single page turns and you get to see who was born that day, what happened in history, what happened in the world. And this was a labor of love during the pandemic. This book right here teaches you how to go to 100 countries. And I've been to 104 countries. And here's what's interesting about this. I wrote the book, the first edition, when I only had been to 35 countries. And then the second edition I wrote when it was 65 countries. And this one's pictured right here without saying third edition. But the third edition, I finally hit the 100 countries. And it was just a very simple premise of how to plan your vacations. And what's really cool is the next person who's going to be on is all about vacations. His name's Stephen Beaver. So he'll be up next. This is a great book in the making right now with Dr. Brian Kent. If you are a strategist and you'd like to be part of a book series on how to create abundance in life and in business, you should contact me. We have not finished this book. We have a nice start with some really brilliant people. These are some of the books that Dakota did for me. And I just can't speak highly enough about how quick and how efficient and how intuitive he is on figuring out what book would be a book that would really be a great children's book for you. So if you have a children's book idea, he is the best. This is a book called Covers. It's just all the covers we make. And we believe that covers are one of the most important aspects of a book. If you don't have a good cover, you've already lost the conversation with the reader. In fact, it even says here, if the cover is of a book is the beginning of a conversation between the author and the reader. If people don't notice your cover or don't connect with it, the author of the book next to yours will be very grateful. So I think that's a great statement. These are some of the covers we've designed. Barry Shore, who was here earlier, he had this book cover and it was not selling as well as this one here. And everyone is complimented on the fact that he is love and light and energy in this cover here. So we've done some really cool covers. This was our best compilation book. Dr. Michelle Mraz can speak on that later. These are diagram books that I did to explain life a little easier. When we're kicking off our dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, jokes do it the best. So these are little jokes I've heard. Edwin Caldwell, and I have walked many a mile telling jokes to each other. So I captured some of those. And I will finish with this. This is one of my favorite and biggest books. It's 800 pages, and there are 6 versions of it, 6 editions of 6 volumes. I'm sorry, 6 volumes. And the idea is that people that bring hope to the world are the ones who are giving us the most dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins. And HOPE stands for Hold On, Pain Ends. And this book is flooded with, I think, about 275 people that tell their story of what they had to overcome to actually become who they are, to find their purpose, and to change the world with their vision and their confidence, and just all the beautiful things that happened in the course of creating hope for others. So this is Ken Rochon. I choose to use my time to share the most important book I have, which is my first 60 years. You got to see roughly 30% of it. If you want to see the rest of it, it's yours for free. Just simply text me and communicate with me, and I'll send you a digital copy.